More games on this road.
Tough loss tonight for the Spurs. They fall in overtime in Detroit, 117 to 116. Let's listen into Bill Schoening with some of his post game.
For more information, that game will tip at 7:30. Whataburger, what's next? We told you earlier that the Spurs play at Toronto on Tuesday night, so the Spurs get a couple of days off during this road trip, but then they get another back-to-back Tuesday and Wednesday at Toronto Tuesday, at Boston on Wednesday, and that's a 6 o'clock tip on Tuesday, 6:30 tip on Wednesday. Both those games on Bally Southwest. Bally Southwest also has the game against Philly on Friday, January 7th, and that will be a 6 o'clock tip for that ball game. Well, the big number tonight was rebounding, as the Spurs got out rebounded 63 to 48. They got outscored in second chance points. They got a rebound on the offensive boards, 21 to 12. And that's one of the many reasons why Detroit wins this ball game over the Spurs. The final score, 117 to 1.
Hello, Joanne.
And the Spurs are now on the road 7-10 on the road, and again 14-21 now.
Brian Zuniga, welcome.
Final score tonight in overtime, 117-116. The Pistons over the Spurs. This is Spurs Radio. At BMW, we make the ultimate range.
Yeah, Spurs had lots of opportunities tonight. Could not cash in. Down the stretch at the free throw line as well. Some key free throws were missed. At one point, Jakob Poeltl was 0 for 2 from the free throw line with 29.1 seconds to play. Luckily, Keldon Johnson gets that ball, goes to the line, but then Keldon goes 1 of 2. So that enabled that game to go to overtime, so it was 105-105. Jason Paniagua, Jason Salinas, Paul Reyes Jr., welcome. Jason says Keldon's shot is in health and safety protocol. That's funny. That's funny, Jason. Didn't want to lose that one. Pistons had lost. Make sure I get this right. Pistons had lost 18 of their previous 19 games. Yikes. That's a game the Spurs should have won. Leland Bruce, Paul Reyes Jr., Jason Paniagua, Joanne Hernandez, Brian Zuniga. Welcome in, everybody. Okay. But this is my regular segment? Okay, I'll keep an eye on you. Let me know if you something happens. In which case, I'll fly through this. From the Spurs Net Center, I'm Chris Duel. Final score in overtime from Detroit. The Detroit Pistons beat the Spurs in OT, 117 to 116. Programming note on the flagship station, Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI, and streaming live video on 1200 WOAI's Facebook and Twitter pages. Our Spurs React with Michael Bartlett and myself is coming right up. First, let's get you updated on scores from around the NBA. Clippers beat the Brooklyn Nets 120 to 116. Midway fourth quarter, Nuggets over the Rockets 104 to 76. Halftime in Salt Lake City, Warriors lead the Jazz 64 to 50. More finals, Bucks beat the Pelicans 136 to 113. For the second consecutive night, DeMar DeRozan with a walk-off three-point shot as the Bulls beat the Washington Wizards. Once again, the final score, the Detroit Pistons beat the San Antonio Spurs in overtime, 117 to 116. Quick wrap-up coming from the AT&T Center, where Bill Schoening broadcasts remotely tonight. Spurs Radio continues in a moment. Sergio Lozano says, terrible loss to a bad team. Hard to argue that one tonight. Let's see. Leland Bruce says, Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. That's a good point. Want to wish you all a Happy New Year. I should have done that at the outset. David Valles, not so happy at the moment. Joanne says Derek lost the game by missing that free throw. Taro Kotani is in here. There's Taro, the greatest international Spurs fan from Tokyo, Japan. He joined me on my show on Ticket 760 on Friday. By the way, we'll talk a lot of Spurs, as we always do, all week long. My show on Ticket 760 and AM 1300 The Zone out of Austin, 6 a.m. to 9 a.m. weekdays. And we have Bill Schoening, the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, every Wednesday at 8:05. If you want to join us for that, it's a lot of fun. All right, got a quick wrap up from Bill here. Mary Anthony. Mary, I saw a photo of you at the Rose Bowl today, and I thought it was taken today. There's Bill. I thought you were at the Rose Bowl, but it was from a few years ago. Great picture, nonetheless.
Next game of the Spurs coming up against the Toronto Raptors Tuesday night, 6 o'clock start. We'll be on the air at 5:30 with Spurs Radio Game Night. As always, for all things Spurs, follow us on Twitter, Spurs.com, or the Spurs app. Our studio producer tonight was Mike Bartlett. Our studio host, Chris Duel. Thank you for joining us this evening. This is Bill Schoening, reminding you of the final score tonight. Pistons in overtime defeat the Spurs 117-116. This has been a presentation of Spurs Sports and Entertainment and the National Basketball Association. All rights reserved. Good night, everybody.
Spurs Radio Game Night Rewind has been brought to you by AT&T. The Code Suite and by iHeartMedia. 15?
Yes, and I'll go to you early, and then I'll wrap.
Yeah, I'm not going to go longer than like 30 or 40 seconds.
NBA's next.
Whatever you want.
Right
We'll just
here,
get out at 15.
Right now, with the young, the hungry, the ready. Heard enough? See for yourself.
Yeah, Mary, I caught a touchdown pass at the Rose Bowl. Nobody was there. When I was living in Southern California one day, like middle of the week, daytime, the gates were open and we were throwing a football out front. So my friend and I went down, worked our way onto the field. Nobody else was around. And he threw a long touchdown pass to me down the sideline at the Rose Bowl on the field. I caught it for the touchdown. I know it wasn't real, but it felt good. It was cool. It was cool for me. Frank Ramirez, what is up? Yeah, Frank, Spurs had 4 guys out due to health and safety protocols. Doug McDermott, Lonnie Walker the fourth, Devontae Kaycock, and even though DeJounte's cleared, he's got to work his way back. Here we go.
Home of the Spurs. Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI.
Well, that wasn't a happy New Year game for the Spurs. Welcome in. This is Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI. I'm Chris Duel along with Michael Bartlett as the Spurs fall in overtime tonight at Little Caesars Arena in Detroit to the Pistons, 117-116. Pistons had lost 18 of their last 19 games. By the way, we're streaming live video on 1200 WOAI's Facebook and Twitter pages where a lot of the parents like to gather the kids around because Michael Bartlett is the Mr. Rogers of Sports Talk Radio. It's usually a beautiful day in his neighborhood, but Michael, not so beautiful on this New Year's night.
Oh, that was literally the most embarrassing game I've ever watched them play. And that's coming from off of the game where they played the Sacramento Kings, another team that was decimated by health and safety protocols and injuries. And yes, the Spurs have their own health and safety protocols, but that's the worst team in the league. They've lost 18 of the last 19, and you lose that game after being up by 17 at one point. It's embarrassing. That is literally embarrassing, and I don't know. I am head scratching, and hopefully DeJounte comes back soon because you're clearly seeing that we're missing DeJounte Murray and the leader of our basketball team.
Yeah, that was a tough loss. And as you mentioned, Michael, both teams with health and safety protocol issues going into tonight's game. The Spurs without Doug McDermott, Lonnie Walker IV, and Devontae Kaycock all were out for health and safety protocols. Now, you may have heard earlier today, DeJounte Murray was cleared of health and safety protocols, but he's got to work his way back into shape and back into the lineup. That's why he wasn't ready to go tonight. Tough loss for the Spurs, back-to-back losses on consecutive nights on the road. This is a 7-game road trip. It's not the rodeo road trip, but it sure feels like one. 7 games is a lot of games. And unlike the rodeo road trip, there's not a break in the middle of it where everybody goes home for the NBA All-Star break. So this is going to be a rough road trip for the Spurs. It will continue on Tuesday night at Toronto, and the Spurs have another back-to-back coming up where they'll be at Toronto on Tuesday night and at Boston to take on the Celtics on Wednesday night. So hopefully the Spurs can get back on the winning track. But as Michael mentioned, every team is dealing with COVID issues and health and safety protocols. So Spurs will do the best they can and lick their wounds and hopefully learn from this one and come back strong, we hope, on Tuesday night against the Toronto Raptors. That'll be a 6:00 start, by the way, in the Central Time Zone. So we will be on the air with Spurs Radio Game Night at 5:30 on Tuesday night with the voice of the San Antonio Spurs, Bill Schoening. Want to thank Bill for another magnificent broadcast. He's the best. Nobody does it better in his 21st year as the English language voice of the San Antonio Spurs. Great assists tonight from on-site engineer Sam Walters and veteran statistician Walter Stoops. Want to thank Michael Bartlett. He makes the entire broadcast go from beginning to end. Go Spurs, go on Tuesday night. Go Cowboys tomorrow against the Arizona Cardinals. We'll be watching that at 3:25. For Michael Bartlett, for Bill Schoening, for Sam Walters, and for Walter Stoops and everybody who puts Spurs Radio on the air, I'm Chris Duel. Once again, the final score from Little Caesars Arena in Detroit tonight. In overtime, the Detroit Pistons beat the San Antonio Spurs 117-116. You've been listening to Spurs React on Spurs Radio 1200 WOAI.
Let a radio ad.
All right, y'all. Adios, amigos, Frank. We will see you on my radio show, Ticket 760 and AM 1300 The Zone on Monday, 6 a.m. to 9. Adios, amigos. Go Spurs, go. Go Cowboys. And Happy New Year. Happy New Year, everybody. Hopefully the new year gets better than this Spurs game was tonight. All right. See y'all later. Take care.